Hey everybody, welcome to day 45. Body weight was up to 199.4 pounds. And you can see today is my explosive day. So we start out with squat jumps and sled sprints. This is 30-pound per hand dumbbells. So this is my second time using this weight on these. I definitely felt much more explosive. I will have to look at the footage to see if it looks higher, but you can tell how much quicker and easier I'm dropping down into the bottom. And if you can tell how, why I don't free squat, look at the issue that I have trying to go down. Just my ankle stiffness and my Achilles stiffness and just my proportions. You see how far I have to bend over and get pushed forward just to hinge. Um, okay, so, and also something that's interesting, whenever they do the test to see like, oh, can you keep your foot straight and shove your knee forward and touch the wall, or like if you're like 5 inches away or whatever, I can always hit my knee um, in practice, but just when you look at the stiffness of the ankle, and if you look at like for instance these sprintings, the sled sprints, right? I've done over the course of my life so many contacts with my heel off the ground like that, um, that I think everything is just so stiff there. But there's a lot more reasons why I can't squat than that. But anyway, that was 65 pounds, which was down from the last time I did them was 70 pounds. Again, that's a super heavy sled. My right knee is still giving me issues today. And the heavier the sled, the slower the movement, the less demand it is on that knee for me in this particular issue. But after that, we moved on to hanging knee raises. This is 25 pounds per side, the heaviest that I go. My previous best was 19 from another training cycle, and I did 19 and a half last time on these. Now, the pull-up bar in the door frame has me concerned that I'm going to rip the door frame out, and also one of the ankle weights is starting to leak sand, so I have it like taped up, and I really don't want to have to use that ankle weight anymore. So I was hoping that I could get a PR and just move away from these hanging knee raises, or at least if I do them again, just do my lighter variations. I don't mind doing my lighter variations on here. And also that was the first time that I showed how I have my feet, or like the height of my feet on those. So just like my standing knee raises, I keep my feet out ahead of me, so there's constantly tension on the hip flexor. And also, there's that tactical feedback to where I can't swing backwards, like anterior pelvic tilt and then posterior pelvic tilt to get momentum. The feet start out ahead of me, and even when you see me take a brief rest pause, I push the feet even further out ahead, so there's still tension on the hip flexors. But I could tell right away that I was going to be stronger at those. I could have pushed for another like rep if I needed to, but I got to 21, and so I'm definitely the strongest I've been on those, and I cleared all of my weights on those. So yeah, those are crossed off the list. After that, you saw I went on to the pendulum sissy squats, and I used 85 pounds. Previous best was 8, and I managed to hit 11. Again, I wasn't happy with how long it took me in between reps. The knee did not like this. Again, the quad tendon felt fine today, but the knee was pissed off. And the reason why I did the quads first today is because I knew I was going to attempt these Nordics. And I knew the Nordics could definitely aggravate my knee. So I didn't want to do that. And then the quads fail or whatever. But this variation, I use a gray band and a micro band, and I add a chain around my neck. So I'm trying to use more accommodating resistance to lighten the bottom more, but add more total load to it. So I'm just trying to create tension throughout. Now, my previous best from another training cycle on this was 8. And these felt comfortable when I warmed up with just the gray band. It didn't feel super comfortable, but I felt like I had good speed moving up and down, and I was able to keep my body extended. And I yeah, I got 11. So I'm like, there's something I had to do different. I know I set this up differently. And sure enough, it's because I was messing around and putting the bands up higher. So as soon as I realized that, I'm like, no, I tore everything down and then I went and put it all back up. I'm like, let me compare it to another variation that I know. And this is the heaviest one that I had done previously. So it's just the gray band with one chain around the neck. And the best that I got before was 5. Now, I don't know how much that previous set took out of me or if it warmed me up more. I mean, I don't think it warmed me up more, but I don't know how much it took out of me. So I know this was my heaviest one, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get one. You see that first rep, the chain got stuck on the bench of my sweater on the way down, so that made it harder, but I got 3. I wasn't, I'm not mad at that. The first setup that I had, it feels much better. My knees didn't start popping, and it didn't feel like the hamstring was going to tear off until it started, maybe the last 2 or 3 reps, which I could have continued pushing that set, but I thought went from being less than my best to already PR range. So that's the reason why I discontinued the set there. Again, we have time. I'm going to do them more frequently if my knee can handle it. My knee actually felt perfectly fine during the set, but then after, when I started these one-arm rows, it started hurting again. I don't know. So when I tighten down these dumbbells, the weights barely fit. So I usually use a 10-pound weight to knock the edge of the fastener on more to tighten it up. And I always use a 10, and there was only a 5 lying around, which obviously has a smaller diameter. And I was thinking about this, that the fasteners are like razor blades because the little metal flake coat that they have like chips off or whatever. And when I hit down with the 5, I noticed that I missed, but I didn't really feel anything. And then when I did the first side, when I did that left side, you could see at the end of the set, I look at my hand, and my thumb was just leaking. And, I just, put my thumb in my mouth, spit out the blood, and go rub my thumb in the dirt. I don't really care, but this thing would not stop leaking. So I had to go and get it wrapped up, and it bled all the way through the Band-Aid. Like, I don't even know. That was crazy. But just like when you see me always using the sweatshirt and the gloves for the chains, that's the reason why, because I almost lost an eye because one of the like metal splinters on those chains. Like, if you buy chains, do not get them uncoated, let them rust. Like, don't have any coating on it, because that's a horrible idea. But yeah, so the one arm rows was 115 pounds there. My previous best was 28, and I pushed them to 31. And man, these rows just take so much out of you, I swear. Luckily, I'm getting into the heavier weights now. So I wanted to try bench or maybe even dips today, but the shoulder wasn't ready for that. It's been able to handle the overhead press, obviously, and the shoulder hasn't been inhibiting the amount of force that I could put in for the overhead press. So yeah, I used 160 today. I had done 162 for 7, being a little bit lighter. So we took 160, and I had no other way around it. I needed to hit 8, and I magically hit 8. I don't know. It was a very tough set. So over the belt squat isometrics, real quick, I want to mention yesterday in my shorts, I saw a lifter pop up by the name Josiah, I believe. He's a younger guy, and he did a 7-inch zercher deficit. So I know I had mentioned that next week I was thinking about doing the 5-inch, which is the most I've seen, and going heavier than that guy. But I definitely can't get down to a 7-inch. And he says these lifts were just posted a couple days ago. 190 pounds, and he does 315 off a 7-inch. Smokes it. I don't know if you watch my videos, but awesome job, man. So yeah, I was worried about going up to my 5 or 6-inch deficit. Even having 2 rubber plates, I was worried that they were going to slide on me again like the metal one did. So definitely won't be doing that. We'll be sticking on the that 145-pound plate. Now, I know I called it a 3-inch deficit, but I annotate that as a 4-inch deficit just on my notes, so I need to correct that. But yeah, you see the belt squat isometrics. Thankfully, I wrote this setup like this day needed to happen today, and I had put a lot more thought into this training cycle last year and at one time, and it falls on the perfect day because I needed to have the mental break. Now, again, if you take a day off, or I should say, if you mail in these sets and don't put the effort in, you're not going to get anything out of it. So that's not what I'm saying. But just the fact that I don't have a number to quantify, like if I had some metric or some power plate to hook up to this, I know I would drive myself crazy. Just like on those sled sprints, like I need to not time them. I know that I'm improving at them because I'm not in a good position. Now, when I'm in a peak position, they're more important to time things. And obviously, I'm about the same body weight as when I started 45 days ago. And I think if anyone looks at these videos, they can clearly see like the progress that's been made, body composition wise and everything. So yeah, anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.